I got so much to say on this topic. Obviously, you all know Giannis is my favorite basketball player playing. He's one of my favorite athletes playing athletes right now. As a Nigerian, I see a lot of myself in Giannis's upbringing. His parents of Nigerian descent. Giannis Antetokounmpo handled that about as well as one could handle a situation. And shame on Tyrese Haliburton's dad. I believe he should be banned for the rest of the playoffs because you have to treat him like a fan if he wants to act like a fan. And if a fan ran on the court and tried to inflame a situation with another player, that fan, Haliburton's dad, would be banned from the rest of the playoffs. So he needs to be banned from the rest of the playoffs. He was not celebrating with his son, though his son had a phenomenal game. He was not rejoicing with his son, though his son clinched the game with the game winner. Instead, he goes with the intention to inflame Giannis. But I will suggest this. If there were more individuals like Giannis walking the earth, there would be more peace among us. Giannis handled this situation about as best as possible. Number one, he didn't cower from the situation. He didn't turn and run to the locker room. Number two, he didn't get physical nor violent with the situation, even though that was the intention of Haliburton's dad. How do you want Giannis to respond in a moment when he just had 33, 20, and 13 and lost in overtime, maybe his last game in Milwaukee? That is a situation that dictates the throwing of hands, and Giannis didn't even do it. He didn't cower. He didn't run. He didn't swing on him. He went to a man-to-man, eye-to-eye, forehead to forehead while we had it, and he talked to him. But what I loved, which most people didn't see, he left patting his chest and he said, "I love you." I don't know if he did it from a sarcastic point. I don't think so, knowing Giannis. I have met Giannis. He left patting his chest, and he looked at Haliburton's dad, and he said, "I love you." And I love how Giannis personalized it. He said, "Look, that's not how I was raised." He said, "My father's no longer with us." Giannis's dad had died a while ago. He said, "My father no longer with us." He said, "But when my dad walked into a room, he led with humility." He said, "When my dad walked into a room, coming from nothing, there's no way I would ever try to do something that would inflame or try to incite another man to try to fight me." He said, "Now, I'm not going to try to say that Haliburton's dad is lesser of a man. That's just not how I was raised." And I also love how Giannis was like, "I won a championship." Most people cut the tape like we cut the tape. Giannis didn't say, "I won a championship," and they hadn't. Again, to inflame them, he said, "I won a championship," and they hadn't, to let you, the viewer, let me, the viewer, know I've been there before. So I'm not speaking as someone who doesn't know how it feels to win something. I'm speaking as someone who knows how it feels to win at the highest level. And when Giannis won, he didn't run up to Devin Booker. He didn't run up to DeAndre Ayton. He didn't run up to Chris Paul. He didn't run up to Monty Williams. He stood there and he celebrated with his team. I think Haliburton's dad should get suspended for the rest of the playoffs. No reason for him to be there. And shout out to Giannis for handling that situation as professionally as I believe a human quite literally could handle that situation. Slick, I don't know if you've seen something like that with a parent in basketball. Obviously, you've seen it with fans in basketball. Yeah. But do you love how Giannis handled it? Do you hate how he handled it? Talk about it.
I've seen it. I've seen it at an AAU game. I haven't seen it.
I've seen it there.
I haven't seen it in the NBA. And I hate this happen, but Giannis is wrong.
Giannis is wrong?
Giannis is wrong. That wasn't a parent. That was a fan. If we're not going to treat everyone who is at the game and has a ticket as a fan, then that's the problem. There's no special dispensation just because you're related to a player.
Yeah.
You don't get any special grace. Hakeem Olajuwon, a legend in Houston, a legend for the Rockets, a legend at the University of Houston, is at the game when Houston wins in the NCAA tournament. He can't get to the team. He can't get on the floor. So why are we making a special dispensation for a parent, for a dad? That ultimately is the problem that I see. And this game was in Indiana. They know who his dad is. So what? He shouldn't be on the floor.
Yeah.
And so I'm so, in one way, I'm heartened because we have Giannis Antetokounmpo and we have Tyrese Haliburton, the next generation, demonstrating a maturity that the previous generation is not demonstrating here.
So good.
And
so good.
I look for my kids to be better than I am, and I'd like to think that they are. They're better human beings than I was at their age. That is my goal. But that's not a rationale for me to behave like that, because that was immaturity at its best coming from the father. I would be embarrassed if I was Tyrese Haliburton's father and I'm watching all that take place. I'm not sure that he is, because if he was, we would have never had that incident happen.
Y'all talk from Giannis. I'm going to talk from being a father. Now, number one, for being a father, that's how I raise my kids, right? Respect your elders, right? Giannis, I applaud you for not responding in a violent way, because you easily could have. You frustrated. You just lost a game that you should have won. You had a hell of a game, So I applaud you for responding that way. Number two, as a father. Number one, your son just had a unbelievable game and play to win that game. And I'm talking about Tyrese Haliburton. You have took all the attention away from him and put it on yourself. Number two, as a father of James, Martell, Lightning Jones, and Jordan DeAndre Jones, I would have flew on that court so fast and I would have beat Tyrese Haliburton's pops. And if the series was over, I'd have been at the first game wherever they played to courtside hoping he was going to be there for disrespecting my son like that. And that's just true as a father. As a father, it's your job to protect your kids. You want to jump up there and you want to get in the player's face, right? Because I don't look at it as a fan. You're a father. You respect the game different. You understand? Like, your son is playing. You should respect the game different. You're not just a fan of just there. Like, you've been around these players. You've been courtside plenty of times.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? That's not how you act. You respect the game. As a fan, sometimes they want to run on the court and act a fool. You are a father, man. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, hey, listen, my kids and a pops want to do that, and I teach my kids, hey, man, you respect your elders. But Tyrese Haliburton's father, he would have had to see me as a father. And that's just straight up. I applaud Giannis, but I was hot. Yeah. I was really hot because I have two boys, and I'm cool. Hey, I'll be the first dad. Y'all got whooped, dog. Tyrese Haliburton went to work on y'all. I'm the first dad like that. Yeah. But as getting into my son's face and no. Yeah. Ooh, no. Ooh, my wife say the Lord know not to put me in certain situations, boy.
That's one of them.
I'm just going to let y'all know, all right? Hey, I'd have been fired from Fox. Anywhere, Acho would have been like, dang, that's how you, Acho. If it happened the same way yesterday, Acho, it would have been the same reaction, but not to my babies. Yeah. Not to my baby, no.
I hated the whole situation. I actually liked how Giannis handled it. But from Tyrese Haliburton's perspective, like, you just went out there and you won the game. You clinched the series for the Pacers. And then your dad's there, which he's at a lot of the games. I would be embarrassed. I'm with you, James. I would be embarrassed as a dad. As a dad, how about going up and hugging your son and telling you how grateful and thankful I am for you, how proud I am of you. Instead, and I had the same thing as you, James, you make the whole situation about yourself. Instead of your kid, which this is one of the shining moments of Tyrese Haliburton's career. Like, one of the few, and he's a young player. He's on a team that we don't talk about a lot unless situations like this. When was the last time we talked about Tyrese Haliburton on the show? Never. Now it's because of Giannis and because of your dad. You are a great player. For a dad to do that, like, first of all, where's NBA security? Yeah. Like, this has happened a lot before. Like, that's what I want to know. Like, it's an open court. It's not like it's football where there's stands. Like, when my parents came to games, when I was starting, I started like 5 or 6 games. They came to every game. You know where they sat? They didn't sit front row. They didn't get sideline passes. They sat up in the nosebleeds because that's the seats that they were given. There's no special treatment for parents. And for this, the NBA has to do something, Acho, like, in terms of a suspension or not being able. And it's just unfortunate because, look, I understand Tyrese Haliburton's dad probably got in the middle of the moment and it was heated and you wanted to step up to Giannis, who's one of the top 3 players in the NBA. But now it's going to have consequences. I think NBA has to put those consequences in place so stuff like this doesn't happen, because at the forefront of this is player safety.
To your point, for how long they were out there and no one was engaged.
No one.
No one else showed up. Like, what? How does that happen?
No one.
The second part is his dad didn't do anything in terms of
in the game,
the accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's not your accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like, celebrate your son for what he did. And I feel like this is where so many parents go sideways. They're living vicariously through their kids.
Talk about it.
And they're believing that what they did is what they did. Like, oh, I did. No, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. They did. Your son did that. And so this idea that, like, you're celebrating, or like what Giannis said that Ty's dad was saying to him, this is what we do. No. This is what your son did.
Correct.
Don't use the proper pronoun and have the proper perspective. And that's where we get sideways, because parents begin to think, I'm part of the team. I'm like, no, you're not. You are a fan.
Do you know, I wish, it's hard to articulate how much restraint it would take for Giannis in that moment. Colvin, run that clip again. I just want you, the viewers, to particularly look at Giannis's eyes this time. Like, for these 3 to 5 seconds, just look at Giannis's eyes as he looks down at Tyrese Haliburton's dad. Do you understand the restraint it takes after dropping 30, 20, and 13? You lose in overtime. You were up by 7 with 35 seconds left. You are distraught. You are disheartened. You are heartbroken. Your season is over after playing 82 games of a regular season, including 5 games of a postseason. You have now lost in Indiana. And not that the other team is celebrating and confetti might be falling down on their heads, that somebody is running towards you with one intention: to try to inflame and incite you like a gnat at a barbecue when you minding your own business trying to eat. And this thing is just trying to inflame you. And if Giannis would have swung on him, then the argument today would have been, it's all Giannis's fault. So shame on Haliburton's dad. We said that. Shout out to Giannis. Let's move to the basketball aspect of it all, the more important conversation, spinning it forward. Slick, Giannis has now lost another playoff series.
Yep.
He's only won one playoff series since they won the championship in 2001, if I am not mistaken. It has been a long time. Is it time for Giannis to leave Milwaukee?
No, he does not need to leave Milwaukee. One, he demonstrated in this game, when he's knocking down free throws, how formidable he can be. You don't really have an answer for him. Two, he needs to develop a mid-range jumper. Like, there's things that he needs to add to his game. I think Giannis is so special and so capable at both ends of the floor that it's not going to take a whole lot to rework this team in order to make them contenders. And so John Horst is the GM. He was the GM that built the championship team around Giannis. What Giannis needs to do is he needs to give John Horst the opportunity to do his job. Not help him do his job and say, we need a Dame Lillard, and let him do his job. And if John Horst decides, you know what, I can't build another contender around Giannis the way we're constituted and what we have, then that's a conversation for them to have in terms of what do we do going forward. But the idea that he needs to leave Milwaukee, I just don't believe we're at that point.
Either he has to go. Let me see myself, because I need the viewers to see me. I'm tired of looking at Slick. Either he has to go, or everybody else got to go. It's one of the two.
Okay.
If you watch the Warriors game, it was game 4, James Jones. Yeah. Jimmy Butler offensively, he clinched everything. But defensively, when the Rockets had one possession to go out there and get a bucket, it wasn't Jimmy Butler who was guarding Sengun. No.
Draymond.
It was Draymond. Because the Warriors have different people that can play different roles at different points in time. If you watch the end of the Bucks game, and if you didn't, I'll paint the picture for you. It's tied. Score is tied going into overtime. The Bucks have 10 seconds left to drop a play. And they go to Giannis on that play, as you should. You go to Giannis on that play with about 10 seconds winding down to take the last shot. So Giannis offensively is supposed to be the closer. That's fine. Play that role. Now, Colvin, I don't know if we have the tape because we didn't prepare this beforehand. Now let's see who the Pacers go to and their very last possession when Haliburton goes to get the game winner. Because now why is Giannis having to play lockdown defense?
Yes.
So Giannis has to be your lockdown defender with the game on the line, and he has to be your go-to scorer with the game on the line. That's just not how it works for everybody else in America, people. The Warriors' lockdown defender, Draymond Green. The Warriors' go-to scorer, Jimmy Butler in that game. Y'all don't even pay attention to this. You might miss it because I missed it more often than not. You do realize Steph Curry wasn't even on the court with the game on the line. They pulled Steph Curry off the court in must-win situations where you need to get a defensive stop. Steph Curry on the bench, Gatorade towel over his shoulder, drinking water. He on the bench. And yet we still come on television, as we should, and we acclaim and we proclaim that Steph Curry is one of the greatest players of all time because he is, one of the greatest point guards of all time because he is, yet we don't mandate nor do we dictate that Steph Curry do the things that we're asking Giannis to do. Leave Milwaukee. Go somewhere like Orlando where everybody can strap around you too. where everybody plays defense around you too, where you got a guy in Paolo in the event they have to move Franz Wagner, where you got a guy in Paolo who can score two at will. But if you're sitting there in Milwaukee, Giannis, hey, we need to get a bucket, dude. Hey, Giannis, we need to get a stop, dude. Hey, Giannis, we need to get a board, dude. Hey, Giannis, we need to drop a dime. Giannis led, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head, he led the Bucks in points, he led the Bucks in rebounds, he led the Bucks in assists. Gary Trent had 33 points. Shout out to Gary Trent. But in the series, led the Bucks in points, led the Bucks in rebounds, led the Bucks in assists. Giannis has to do everything. So what are you in Milwaukee for? Ain't nobody helping him. Yeah, well, you might as well go somewhere and find you some help.
Well, they tried to get help, and it didn't help that last year Dame Lillard wasn't the Dame Lillard coming off of the change from Portland, and then this year he dealt with all them injuries. Because I promise you, even with Giannis on the court, if Dame Dollars healthy, that's Dame time right there. Giannis, you got to defend, but the ball's gonna be in Dame's hand. If Dame is healthy through this whole season, this is a totally different series, in my humble opinion, too, though. So. Giannis is a buck, man. Giannis is a buck. I think the easiest path back to a finals, too.
It's not in Milwaukee, James
No.
Jones.
It's in the East, though.
Okay, yeah.
But I do believe that they will put a really good team around them because they are going to make sure they take care of Giannis in Milwaukee. They're going to make sure Giannis is going to be able to compete. They are going to put the right pieces around him. But he's a buck. And they are not far off. Like Slick said, it is not going to be hard to put a contending team in Milwaukee around Giannis and them. And yeah, we don't know what's going on with Dame Dollar, but they will be able to get some players to put around Giannis. But no, he should stay in Milwaukee. He should not be trying to get up out of there, trade and all that type stuff. Because I understand what you're saying about Orlando, but who you're gonna have to give up a lot of pieces to get Giannis.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? So all them strapped down defenders, some of them probably gonna be in Milwaukee now too, and you're gonna be saying, man, if he had strapped down defenders, well, we had to trade him to get Giannis. So Giannis is a buck. I would love him to stay there. You won a championship there. They'll put another roster around you. You'll stay healthy.
I'm with you. I prefer he stays. I just don't like stars switching teams. I think loyalty in this day and age is big, and it doesn't happen a lot. When I think of the Bucks, I think of Giannis. Like Bucks and Giannis go together. 2 years left on his deal. The problem is, and like Slick said, you have to rework the entire team if you're going to keep him. And arguably, the Bucks probably have the worst or second worst roster situation in all of basketball. Their second superstar, Dame, is 35, coming off an Achilles. Okay? We don't know how he's going to respond. We've seen Achilles injuries, not only in basketball players, but in football players, derail careers. And because of the trades they made for Drew Holiday and Dame, they don't control a single first-round pick until after the 2030 season to sweeten any type of deal or trade you want. So I just don't know how they're going to rework it. They need another superstar. And so that's my issue with the whole situation. It's like, stay there, build the team around them, but how?
And that's why I say leave. Because the most important thing Chase said, I believe, is, but how? Because I think about this, you got to get rid of Doc Rivers. He got to go. He got to go. He has to go. So you got to get rid of Doc Rivers, number one. Number two, think about this for a second structurally. Kyle Kuzma, Taurean Prince, and Brook Lopez played the majority of the end of the season. They all played 24 out of 25 games to end the season, in large part because Bobby Portis was suspended. Then yesterday, you don't even start Kuzma. You don't even start Kuzma. So we start Gary Trent. Fine, start Gary Trent. He had 33 points. Shout out to starting Gary Trent. But now you start Porter, and then you start Green. How much time have they even played on the court together? So you got to get rid of Doc Rivers so the coach gone. Lopez and Portis, they're both free agents, so they're probably gone. And if they're not free agents, they're old, so they're probably gone. Dame Lillard going to be 35 in July, and he's coming off an Achilles, so he'll probably miss all of next season. So if I'm staying in Milwaukee, what am I staying in Milwaukee for? Who's coaching me? Who's playing alongside me? Who's playing any defense? Where's my athleticism? Where's my shot making? You're asking me to do entirely too much.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And we've talked about this subject from 3 different angles in 3 days. And you've shifted it, and people are out there probably thinking, well, Bucher's giving us a different answer every day, right? Look, does he need... This was the original question, does he need to leave Milwaukee? And my feeling is, no, he doesn't need to leave Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks may need to trade him if they realize, you know what, we can't get to where you and we want to go with you staying here. But he doesn't need to leave because we're now in this mindset that unless you're playing for a championship every single year, something's wrong. You need to go someplace else if you're an accomplished player. Not everybody's going to win a championship, not everybody's a contender every single year. He's 30 years old, right?
Hey, Giannis only 30?
He's 30 years old. Next year is a wash. They're not going to be contenders next year.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a fact,
Correct.
right? But the year after, you have an option on Damian Lillard, seeing where he goes. He's got a player option.
37.
You start to have some opportunity. Giannis at 32 through 35, 36, you still have the opportunity to build another championship team around him at his prime. And I know your feeling is, yeah, but his game's really athletic.
His style of play does not suggest he will be able to play well into 35, 36.
But it doesn't have to be. There's nothing about Giannis that doesn't mean that he can't develop a more efficient technical game.
He hasn't done it in 11 years.
Oh,
And Giannis is my man.
okay.
Giannis is my man.
But here's the thing.
My man's. But we got to be real. But he hasn't done it in 11 years.
But he hasn't.
Anthony Edwards found a three-point shot overnight. He slept. He woke up. Oh, I can shoot the trade ball. Giannis has slept several nights and he still can't have it. He don't have a mid-range jumper.
But he hasn't had to. He hasn't had to. And I look at LeBron James. LeBron James has never had a mid-range jumper. He's got a pretty nice mid-range. He still doesn't trust it in big situations.
But LeBron at least developed a three-point shot. He developed the three-point shot.
He has over the last couple of years. Because why? Because he has had to.
Fair.
So, my feeling, I don't want to insult Giannis for knowing, look, I saw him when he first came in the league. He had no game. Like, he was just...
Big, tall,
he had no game. And he has developed a game in a variety of ways. There's no reason that he can't add those things.
Hey, I'm still stuck. I ought to beat.
What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.